we will. Okay, can you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I always start this webinar introducing myself. You guys know who I am. My name is Molly Sternberg. I am the brand lead for Harvest Haven. I also wanted to, because this is our last dealer webinar, I wanted to kind of introduce our other staff members as well. Trent Stout, I don't have a picture of him, but I do have a picture of his two kids, Noah and Theo. They are 7 and 9. I wanted to introduce our two salesmen here. So Steve Stender has been with us for, I mean, pretty much ever since Trent took over, and then even before when his dad was running the business. So Steve Stender here. He's in the gray sweatshirt here. Most of you guys work with him, but Steve Stender is a salesman on the Harvest Haven side. We also have Dylan Cooney here. You guys will start seeing him more on the Harvest Haven side as well, but mainly he focuses on our Green King turf side. So these are the two salesmen that you guys typically will see when you are working on the Harvest Haven side, as well as myself and sometimes Trent, not very much. I also wanted to highlight some of our warehouse crew as well. These are the people that really make it happen when getting your products out the door to you guys. So Noah Enfield manages our warehouse. Typically, if you have inventory questions, Noah is the guy that you want to talk to. He makes sure that your orders get out in time and are packaged correctly. Isaiah is pretty much a do-it-all. If you guys are coming in to get bulk product, he's the guy that is loading your trucks and trailers. He also runs our Ainsworth warehouse as well. So he's our fix-it guy. Anytime we have something we need done at the warehouse, Isaiah is the guy to call. Then we have Cheyenne. If you guys ever have worked with Bobby, she was our account manager here last year and in the last probably 3 years. I guess, Trent, you can correct me on that. But Cheyenne is actually Bobby's daughter. She is in our accounts management role. She started a couple months ago. So here is her number. If you guys do want her email or if you have accounts questions, please reach out to her. You can email her or call her directly. So as we move into the season, she is your contact for that. I think it's really important for our dealers to know who to talk to. Obviously, Steve, Dylan, Trent, myself are your first contacts, but sometimes it's easier for you guys to just call Cheyenne if you have account questions. So Steve's not put in the middle of it, or myself is not put in the middle of it. So that is the crew that makes it happen around here. We are very thankful for them. They are busy getting mixes, getting your early stock orders ready. And so they are the crew that makes it all happen. So today we kind of have honestly a fun agenda. In honestly, to some of our salesmen too, this is something that is new this week on the inoculant side of things, but I really wanted to cover the differences in clover species. We carry a slew of different clovers, and so I really want to work with you guys on placing the right clovers on the right acres. Then we're going to deep dive into coding. It kind of our inventory is a little all over the place depending on our products. Some of our products are coated, some of them are raw. We go back and forth whether we want raw product or whether we want coated product. But we are going to kind of deep dive into that and why we go back and forth on those. And then we are going to cover inoculants as well. I'm covering the clover species today, and then Trent will hop on and do the coating and inoculant side of things. So. And if I didn't mention, Trent is the owner of Harvest Haven. He plays a role in the background, but he is the owner, and you will see him pop on and off these webinars. I believe he hosted one a couple weeks ago as well. So Okay, so first we are going to cover individual clover species. The first one we are covering is all-site clover. This is a short-lived perennial legume, typically lasting 2 to 4 years. It's valued for forage, pasture, hay, and as well as soil improvement. So the pros of all-site clover. So all-site has excellent tolerance for wet and poorly drained soils. So areas that are prone to flooding or have excess moisture. This is better than most clovers. So if you're comparing it to a red clover, all-site is a better option for those wet soils. Allsike also tolerates acidic soils. So if you have pHs down to like 5.5 to 6, this product is a better clover for that fit. And it also thrives on low fertility conditions, better than most legumes in comparison. So Allsike clover has good nitrogen fixation, around 60 to 120 pounds of N per acre when it's established, which helps obviously improving fertility. And then if you are pairing with grass, it's a really good companion crop with that. All-site clover has high quality forage similar to alfalfa. It is very palatable for livestock, cattle, and sheep, and is attractive to pollinators such as bees and butterflies. So this product is easy to establish and it reseeds readily in some conditions and works really well in mixtures with grasses. The cons of this product, it is short-lived. So typically the persistence on this product is 2 to 3, almost, sometimes 4 years, depending on the management styles. If you're fertilizing it, how often you're cutting it and grazing it, that is a key piece to any of the persistence years that I'm going to show you guys today. This product is prone to lodging, so it tends to fall over, especially if you are doing mono seeding, just straight all-site clover. So this product does benefit being seeded with other grasses because those grasses help hold this product up. Um, Another thing that I'm going to talk about is bloat risk. As you guys mainly are feeding these products to cattle, I really do want to touch base on the bloat risk of these products. So this product is a high bloat risk. Um, Especially if it is a high percentage in mixes. So just make sure if you are seeding all psych to balance those percentages in those mixes to help with the bloating. So if we are looking at it from a yield standpoint, in comparison to like a clover or an alfalfa, although that quality is similar to a clover, yield is quite a bit less than a red clover or an alfalfa. And it does have a slower regrowth speed after cutting and grazing in comparison. This product is not super drought tolerant. So this is a product that I would put more on a wet, slough type of an acre, but it does not thrive in drought tolerance. So something to note here. Seeding depth, we recommend an 8 to 1/4 inch. Deeper planting reduces emergence. So I like to see this product drilled into a firm seed bed. If you are broadcasting it, I do recommend upping that seeding rate. And if you are able to roll it and pack it, I think that's a better product or a better option. If you are broadcasting it, and Trent will talk about this, on the coding side, anytime you're broadcasting a clover, I would suggest going with a coated product, and we'll explain why moving forward. Seeds per pound is something we've really been focusing on lately as well. And this is going to be interesting as we move through and really compare these clovers. Is the difference in seed size. So this clover is approximately 680,000 to 700,000 seeds per pound. So when we are calculating seeding rates, which I have here, the mono seeding and companion seeding rate, I encourage you guys to identify how many seeds per square foot you're looking for, and then use that seeds per pound to get that desired seeds per square foot. So I'm not going to dive into the mono and the companion. That is there just for reference, but I really encourage you guys to look at the seeds per pound and look at your desired seeds per square foot. Germination days on this, and this is take this with a grain of salt, but 7 to 10 days under optimal conditions. So if it's cooler, it's going to be longer. If it's warmer and you have moisture, it can come up clover or come up quicker, excuse me. Do you guys have any questions on all site before we move on? Trent, any input? Steve, any input as well?
The only input that I have, Molly, is you need a you do if you're using Alcyke in your pasture, you really 2 to 4 is on the companion seeding rate. I'm sure it's just a ISU recommendation or something. I like to see it even half pound to pound because of its significant bloat risk. And you really want a high percentage of grasses, to be able to spread that clover out throughout that mix. So it's okay. This is one that we don't move a lot of, because it is very specialized. Actually, we see more of this move into the deer market, probably on our end than any market. But if you are using Alcyke because of its ability to go into those wet soils, just make sure that you're really being conscious of that when you're grazing cows. That's, the only input that I would have.
Thanks, Trent. The clovers that I am covering today, I really, there's a ton of clovers in the market. And I feel like when I was looking through our inventory, I was looking at our price sheet. I tried to include clovers we have on our price sheet and clovers on our inventory in SOS. There are quite a few clovers in the market. Trent and I were working on a quote for someone the other day. There's a Persian clover. So if there's ever a clover that you guys are looking for that you don't see a price on our price sheet, or doesn't show up in any of these webinar series, just ask us. It may not be something that we have in the warehouse, just because if we wanted to stock every clover, it'd be kind of a pain. So if there's something you're looking for that we don't specifically have, just ask and we can always get you guys something. So the next one we are going to cover is crimson clover. Honestly, when I look at the broad range of clovers, crimson clover to me is so eye-catching. I think last year we even had some come up that was spilt outside in our rock bed here. Crimson clover is such a beautiful clover. It is super vibrant, and in my opinion, is one of the prettier clovers. Crimson clover is a cool season annual, widely used as a cover crop, forage, hay, and pasture, as well as soil improvement. So each of these clovers, I'm going to go into the pros and the cons. The pros of crimson clover is it does have rapid growth in cool weather. It is excellent for quick establishment in fall or early spring. I would obviously suggest spring for us here just because it is an annual. It does have strong nitrogen fixation, typically 50 to 125 pounds of N per acre, sometimes up to 150 plus in good conditions. So if you're looking for a significant nitrogen fixation product, especially in cover crops, this one would be a great option. So this product has good shade tolerance, allowing interseeding into standing crops. So if you look at this picture here, I really love this picture. To me, this looks like wheat, barley, trip, maybe. I'm not sure, based on the seed heads here, but this is a really good product to interseed because of the shade tolerance. I actually had a grower reach out to me the other day looking for a cover crop mix to seed. He's got a spot in his trees. This would be a good product to put in those trees because of that shade tolerance. And then deer plots as well. So this product has high forage quality. It is very palatable and nutritious for livestock with low to no bloat risk compared to other legumes. Because of that bright, vibrant color, this one is a really great product if you guys have growers that are looking for pollinator species, or just looking to build kind of that bee population because of that bright color. And then, the nectar in it typically comes from that bright color as well. So this would be a really good option for pollinators and food plots, like Trent said earlier. This product has good drought tolerance once it's established. It does offer good erosion control and weed suppression, especially if you are companion seeding it with other products. And it is adaptable to a range of different soils. It prefers well drained, but it does tolerate low fertility and moderate acidity better than other clovers. The cons of this product, it's an annual. So you are going to see that product for 1 year. It does have poor performance in poorly drained soil. So in comparison to the All Psych, where that product likes, more wet soil, this one, also this one does not like wet soil. So this is a product that I would put on drier acres. Like I said, once it is established, it has really good drought tolerance. A con of this is that it can host nematodes, so avoid high nematode fields and rotate this product carefully. And this product may cause bloat. It is a low to medium, so just make sure if you are putting this in a cover crop and you're grazing it or putting it in with a grass mix to adjust that percentage according, because there is a low to medium bloat risk on this. And this product is difficult to dry for hay due to the high moisture content. So this product has a better fit for pasture, silage, green manure, or cover crops. So just something to note there. Seeding depth on this product is 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Like I said before, if you guys are broadcasting it, make sure you are upping that seeding rate. And then the seeds per pound on this is quite a bit lower in comparison to the All Psych. You're looking at 140 to 150,000 pounds seeds per pound. In that range comes from differences in varieties. So just note that. Like I said before, we do have a mono seeding rate and a companion seeding rate. Take that with a grain of salt. Ask Steve, Trent, myself, based on where you're at and what you're seeding it with. We definitely can adjust those rates based on the grasses you're mixing it with, if you're mixing it with other clovers, etc. And then this product typically germinates in 10 to 14 days. So any questions on that or comments before I move on to Ladino, Trent or Steve? Okay, we will keep moving. The next clover we are going to cover is Ladino clover. This is a larger leaf. So if you guys look here, look how small those leaves are on this crimson clover and then even on the All Psych. So look at how big those leaves are on the Ladino clover. So this is a cool season, long-lived perennial that has large leaves and it grows upright, typically gets 8 to 12 inches tall. And this is a high quality pasture hay. You can put it in wildlife food plots, especially with deer. You can also use it for erosion control as well as nitrogen fixation. So diving into the pros of this product, it does have high forage quality. It is very palatable. I would assume because of the leaf foliage there, because it's got quite a bit big leaves, that it is very palatable and nutritious. Cattle, sheep, deer love this product, and it does have a higher bloat risk. So this product does have a strong nitrogen fixation, 80 to 130 pounds of N per acre when it is established. This product spreads via stolons and it forms a dense sod for good persistence, erosion control, and weed suppression. So, when you're looking at the persistence for that 3 to 5 years, that first year it is spreading those stolons and forming that really dense sod. And I truly believe that's what helps it persist so much longer than some of the other ones. This one is tolerant of wet soils, but this product is going to respond if you're putting out fertilizer, especially potassium. So And then this product is really good for intensive grazing systems, wildlife food plots, and it is a low maintenance perennial forage. So, and I do believe it is good in those grazing systems because it is shooting those stolons and producing that sod. So, the cons of this product is that it does have poor drought tolerance. Due to that shallow root system, it is shooting out those stolons, but they are pretty shallow. So you are going to see poor drought tolerance, and it struggles in dry soils or prolonged dry spells. So that could definitely ding your persistence score with that. There is potential for bloats in this product. It is lower than some of our other white clovers, but this is a product you need to manage. It does have slower initial establishment and regrowth compared to some clovers, but and can be outcompeted by aggressive grasses if not managed. So if you are putting this product in with like a Timothy or an orchard grass, make sure that you're managing those mixes because those grasses could grow too fast and outcompete that product, or even a smooth brome as well. So this product is not super winter hardy. So, a year like this year where we don't have any snow cover and we did have really cold, like -0 temps, this is a product you could see some winter kill on. It is not as cold tolerant as some of our other mixes, but so just something to note, I guess, depending on where you're putting it. This is not ideal for pure hay. It is better in mixes. And honestly, it is something you need to manage if you are putting it in a mix, just because it is a slower grower. So, and like I said, it doesn't have great drought tolerance. So it does have lower summer production in hot conditions. Seedling depth on this is an eighth to a quarter of an inch. And you are looking at 700 to 800,000 seeds per pound. And then germination days on this, I think the sweet spot is 10 days, but I would say 7 to 14. Any input on Ladino, Trent, or Steve before we move on? Okay, the next product we are going to cover is medium red clover. Honestly, out of any of the clovers that we move, medium red clover is probably our most sold product. Um, Medium red clover is a short-lived perennial clover, typically persisting 2 to 4 years based on management. The pros of this product is it's easy to establish. It has really good seedling vigors. It's one of the easiest legumes to seed into grass and sods. No-till, you can frost seed this product. I mean, this one is pretty flexible. And honestly, Steve, as he moves this product through his dealer network, I honestly would love to see that product frost seeded. Right now is a great time to start frost seeding that. Steve, do you have any input on that as you sell a pile of medium red clover? I'm not sure. Do we got people here?
Steve's muted. I tried to unmute him here.
I'm here
Okay.
now.
Okay. Steve, you move quite a bit of red clover. What can you give me any feedback on that?
Just basically use it because of its persistence and how easy it is to establish and what it can accomplish in a mix.
Okay. Yeah, so medium red clover has really high forage quality. It is palatable, high protein. Cattle love it. You can also use this in deer plots as well. Medium red clover does have multi-cut potential, so you can get 2 to 3 cuts or grazings per year after that establishment year. So I would say if you're seeding it this spring, you're not pushing those cuts and those grazings this first year. But that second year, you will be able to get 2 to 3 cuts and grazing after it. So it does have quicker recovery and higher yield than a mammoth red clover, which is typically a single cut program. This product does really well in shade. If you're putting it in a tree, in the trees with, food plots, this product will do well in there as well. This product adds organic matter, so it has a high carbon to nitrogen ratio, and it breaks up heavy soils as a cover crop. So because of the flowers here, again, in comparison to that crimson, it's got those bright, vibrant flowers. So this product is a good pollinator mix. And honestly, if I was going to place, a do it all on your acres, I really think medium red clover would be a good product. So again, it is short lived. So you're seeing it that 2 to 3 years. You are seeing bloat risk with this. So make sure that you are managing the mix, the percentages in your mixes. I don't feel like, in my personal opinion, medium red clover is as high as a white clover, but just something to know, anytime you're putting clovers in, you need to manage those percentages. Red clover is also susceptible to diseases, such as anthracnose, powdery mildew, and black patch. And there are some insects that can attack this as well. So the newer varieties that come out are more resistant in comparison to the older varieties. So this product is not as drought tolerant as some of the other products. It does prefer consistent moisture and does tend to shut down in very dry or hot summers. So this product may struggle in late July and August. It does have hairy stems and leaves. So if you are haying this product, it is going to dry down a little bit slower, and you can see some lodging issues if you are straight seeding it. Seed placement on this, the seeding depth is 1/4 to 1/2 inch. And the seeds per pound on this are 270 to 280,000 seeds per pound. And germination days is typically 7 to 10 days, up to 14. Full stand competitiveness in about 60 to 90 days. So just something to note. I know we talked about that, last week with Dylan. Just because it's germinating in those days doesn't mean that you can go cut it, that you can go graze it. It does take some time to get that established. Any other input on medium red clover, guys? All right. We're going to move on to white clover. This product, we carry a range of different clovers. For our forage clovers, we do have kakariki or an Apollo clover. And then for shorter clovers, typically we've got a white Dutch. So this product is a cool season. It is a true perennial. So if you are looking for something that has really good persistent scores, this product is a great product for that. It does have great persistence, and it does spread via stolons. So it is forming dense sod for long-term stands, weed suppression, and erosion control. In comparison to the other clovers, this one, in my opinion, has one of the best nitrogen fixation scores. So 100 to 150 plus pounds of N per acre annually, which helps you manage those fertilizer needs. And it does benefit companion crops. This product is highly palatable and nutritious, preferred by livestock, cattle, and sheep, as well as deer. When we are putting clovers and deer plots, typically it's a white forage clover. Something to note is that white clovers have the highest bloat risk of any of our clovers in the lineup. So make sure you guys are managing the percentage in those mixes. And just make sure too, when you guys are working with those growers, you ask them what they're feeding it for, what they're using it for, because that'll help us help you create the mixes that these growers are looking for. This product is tolerant of close and frequent grazing. Because of those stolons, it does create that sod to help it handle some of the traffic and the grazing. So this product thrives in wet soils and can tolerate those lower acidic soils as well. And it honestly, it works really well on clay and silt ground. It does work well on some irrigated sands as well. So this product is pretty low maintenance once it's established. And it also attracts pollinators with its white and pink flowers that you see. If you guys see people seeding clovers in lawn, Dutch clover is versatile in lawns. Obviously not the Apollo or the Kakariki because that's bred more for food plots, but our white Dutch that we carry is a lower, it doesn't get as tall. So most of you guys probably have white Dutch clover in your yards right now. I guess I do. I shouldn't speak for you guys. Um, the cons of this, it does have poor drought tolerance because it's establishing the stolons and because it's creating that sod. Again, it does have those shallow roots. So it is struggling in those dry, hot spells in July and August. It does have lower yields than those taller clovers such as Ladino or even red. And it does have a really high bloat risk. So this product doesn't do great. And I really think it's because of the stolons, again, the shallow roots. It does not do well with no snow and really cold. So this is something you can see some winter kill on. Let's see what else I have here. It does have lower summer production because of those shallow roots. Seeding depth on this is an eighth to a quarter inch. Seeds per pound is 700 to 800,000. And then germination is the 7 to 10 days. Honestly, that's kind of the sweet spot for the germination on all of these products. There is a few that are noticeably slower, but when we are creating mixes, guys, make sure that you are placing clovers that have very similar germination days as the grasses that you are seeding them with. So that's something that's really important when we're creating mixes is to identify the germination days. The next one is probably our least used clover. Honestly, I see a ton of this clover in South Dakota. I really don't see a lot of it here. But this product is a true biennial legume. Honestly, it has really good drought tolerance, and I think that's why we see more of it in South Dakota. It adapts really well to poor, dry, low fertility soils, better than most legumes, including like a white sweet clover. If you guys are looking for a clover that can break up hard pans, this product is a really good fit for that. So pairing with the drought tolerance, it has a deep tap root. So you're oftentimes seeing that root go up to 6 foot, obviously depending on the conditions, but it breaks up compacted soils. It improves water filtration. It also scavenges nutrients and provides excellent erosion control. So this product is strong in nitrogen fixation, typically 50 to 150 pounds of N per acre, making it a top green manure for following crops. It does have good forage quality in year 2 if it's harvested before heavy bloom. You'll see high protein. It is very nutritious for livestock, and it does have a lower bloat risk due to its bitter taste. This product is really good, again, for attracting pollinators. I honestly could say that for probably every clover, honestly. I think I've said that. But it works really well in deer and food plots as well. So because of the deep taproot, this is more of a winter hardy variety. And it does have abundant seed production with long viability, such as like this seed can live up to 30 to 40 years. So aiding in persistence or reseeding. This is an earlier maturing variety than most of our other clovers. It does have finer stems and it does have better pasture persistence in those tougher conditions because of those deep tap roots. It is versatile for hay, pasture, silage, plow down. I mean, honestly, it's a really good pasture product. Again, it is a biennial. Um, let's see, looking at the cons of this product, It is not tolerant of close or continuous grazing in that year one. So as that taproot is establishing, you really need to manage it that year one. And it does have lower palatability in comparison to the other clovers. So if you are, haying or grazing, this probably isn't the best option because it is such a bitter taste. So there are better products if you are looking for feed. This, in my opinion, would be more of just a rangeland clover if you're not grazing it, haying it, etc. Frost seeding on this, not recommended. The seeding depth we're seeing here is a quarter to a half inch. It does have quite a bit bigger seeds than some of our other clovers, so 250 to 260,000 seeds per pound. And you are seeing that 7 to 14 day germination window. I believe we have a few more. I think I've got two more, and then Trent is going to take over here. The next one, we do move a random amount of this based on the year, but Berseem clover is a cool season annual. Sometimes you'll hear this product called Egyptian clover. It resembles alfalfa with hollow, slightly hairy stems. And you are seeing those cream white flowers in small seed heads. It does have a short taproot, but it is valued for its high quality forage. I will say something to note on this. We do typically use two different varieties. You'll see just a Berseem clover in our inventory, and you'll also see a frosty Berseem clover. So if you guys are wanting to frost seed this product, go for that frosty Berseem clover. It obviously, by its name, it can tolerate cold so much better than just our straight Berseem. So the pros of this product, it does have rapid establishment. It is lower. If you look here, that germination, it's closer to a week, where the other ones are, 10 to 14 days. So it does germinate really fast. It provides early biomass and cover. Again, it's a legume. All of these products are legumes. So you are going to see that nitrogen fixation. Often, 100 to 200 pounds of N per acre. In some systems, 250 to 400 in multi-cut systems. It does have high forage quality, high protein, 18 to 30%. Oftentimes, depending on when you cut it, you could see 22 to 28%. So it is highly digestible due to all this leaf matter, and it is very palatable. So it compares really well to an alfalfa or a crimson clover. And then also you are seeing low bloat risk for this as well. This product does well on wet and poorly drained soils. So if you have, areas that tend to flood or water run through, this would be a good product for that. It does do well in a multi-cut system. So you can do anywhere from 2 to 5 cuts depending on the year and the climate as well. Again, attracts pollinators, and it is very versatile as a nurse crop with alfalfa in mixes or pure stands as just a forage clover. One thing I will say, the cons of this, it does have poor winter hardiness. It is the least hardy clover in our lineup. This product is gonna winter kill if you see temps consistently under 20 degrees. So you can see that stand thinning out. It is not as drought tolerant long term. So this product does prefer consistent moisture irrigation. This is not a product I would put on dry or sandy soils because of that short taproot. Let's see what else we've got. We're moving on to planting depth here. Seedling depth on this is a quarter to a half inch. Seeds per pound. This is one of our biggest seeds per pound of the clovers at 210,000 pounds. And then you typically see germination in 7 days on this. So any questions on that one before we move on to Balanza? Steve, do you have any experience with Berseem clover? I feel like you move quite a bit of that as well. Okay.
I have a comment here on
Okay. I sometimes am like, am I the only one on here
Okay, so
this morning?
my comment on Berseem is where we tend to position this product, if not in the cover crop, is when you have that you're in that fifth, sixth, seventh year of alfalfa, and your persistence is just, kind of dwindling at that point. And it's like, oh, I really want that alfalfa acre for one more year before I have to break that rotation up. Berseem is a great product as a companion for that alfalfa to thicken that stand up where you still get all of those benefits that you went over, Molly, from the forage nutrition side. But you can really use this product to get yourself one more year out of an alfalfa stand as it's starting to peter out. So that's basically my experience with Berseem. I have done some cover crop mixes with it, but usually if we're doing Berseem clover, it's a spring seeded cover crop type forage situation. But I really like this product to be able to stretch an alfalfa stand an extra year.
Perfect. Thanks, Trent. The next product we are going to cover is Balanza clover. Like I said, don't move a ton of this. Um, Balanza adds exceptional versatility across different soil types. So this product can tolerate poorly drained, wet soils, something that's flooding or waterlogged, low fertility. It has a wide pH range. So this one really can go in a slew of different places. This product does have high biomass production, more than many clovers, and it can yield up to 8 to 10 tons of dry matter per acre in good conditions. And obviously, with that, you're seeing higher carbon to nitrogen scores. This product has a very deep taproot. So if you're looking for something to break up compaction, this would be a very good product. This product also has excellent forage quality. So you are seeing higher crude protein scores, 22 to 28%. It has really high relative feed value scores, greater than 200. It is very palatable because it does have hollow stems. So this product is great for grazing, hay, silage, and you do not see a bloat risk with this product in comparison to the other varieties. Because of that taproot, it does have good cold tolerance. And again, attracting pollinators as well with those whites. Honestly, sometimes they look brown to me. It looks like they kind of die off, but it is like a white kind of brown colored flower here that we are seeing. Once this product is established, you do, because of those taproots, you do see good drought tolerance. With it, it is a quick grower in the spring. This product can be placed in shade areas in the trees as well. You can put it with food in deer plots, food plots, whatever you are looking for. One thing I will say is if you look at that seeds per pound, it is one of the smallest seeds per pound here. So that is something to note. If you are looking at maybe broadcasting it, that is just something. There are a pile of seeds per pound with this. This is one of the smaller clovers that we are seeing here. The cons of this product are it does have a very small seed. So this product is sensitive to depth. Honestly, drilling, I mean, it's kind of a toss up, right? Because if you drill it too deep, then you are going to see issues with emergence. But it doesn't, if you're broadcasting, it struggles getting it far enough. So, in having a consistent stand. So, this product does thrive off of an inoculant because of those small seeds. This is going to be a product that I would make sure that you are getting a coated and inoculated seed, or as Trent kind of deep dives here, we are going to start selling inoculant. So make sure that if you are buying a raw seed, you are putting inoculant on it. This product has a potential for slower dry down in hay due to the hollow stems. Grazing tolerance is good, but manage it a little bit more and avoid overgrazing in that rosette stage. Again, the seeding depth here, I said, is that 1/8 to 1/4 inch. because of those small seeds, make sure you are managing that seeding there. And then let's see, the germination. This is one of our quicker germinating days in comparison to anything else that we had with that 3 to 7 days here. So don't move a ton of this. Um, I was quoting a mix the other day on this, but we really don't move a ton of Balanza. Trent, do you want to cover bird's foot? This is kind of your baby here. I can add in too, but this is kind of your baby.
Yeah, sure. Bird's foot trefoil, not anything new. This has been around for a long time. Something that we've seen kind of move in and out of favor in pastures. The biggest issue that bird's foot trefoil has in the pasture system is that you have to like cut bird's foot at a very specific stage. If you cut it at the wrong stage, it tends to just not come back. And so it's hard to pair up where do you manage for the bird's foot or do you manage for it can be kind of tricky when it's in a mix. Where we really like to see bird's foot trefoil is in clay knobs, clay place, really dry clay soils that we struggle getting establishment of grasses. Or you have project like a dam project or a pond project where we seeded it, but there's like these areas that we just can't get anything to take in. That's where bird's foot really comes into play for us. It's a really good product. I love it frost seeded. It does a good job frost seeded this time of year. No bloat risk, so it's very easy on cows. Seed rates are friendly. Price per pound on this product can be variable. I mean, we've seen this thing go from $3 to $12 just depending on the year. So I always encourage you if you obviously in those scenarios where nothing else works, it's kind of the only option that we can go with. So price probably isn't that big of a factor. But the reason we don't see it as much in mixes is because it tends to drive, it's just not an economical option for us. I've heard the rumor that there's only 2 bird's foot trefoil growers left in the United States, and therefore that's part of the reason why the supply can be really hit or miss and price can be very volatile. But it's a good product. Not trying to say anything that would prohibit somebody from using it. It's just supply and pricing can at times be a struggle with bird's foot. I do know inoculant with this product is very important to the success of it, but it's something that is kind of built for a very specific place, and we place it that way. So
Perfect. Okay, that kind of covers just our individual clover species. Like I said, if there's something you're looking for that we didn't cover today, please reach out. If you have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We are moving on to coating and inoculants. Trent is going to cover this here, and we will give you the floor.
all right, I'll do my best here to get us out of here in 8 minutes, but bear with me as we go. So talking about inoculants and coating, the things that you will want to know is there is a terminology called CFUs, which refers to colony forming units. And so just like when we look at seed tests, we have viable seeds and not viable seeds. CFUs are a measurement per gram or per seed of how many active live bacteria in the inoculant there is that are able to form an actual colony of the rhizobium bacteria. So you will see anytime you're talking inoculants, a designation of a CFU units. It's usually in 10 to a certain power, like 10 to the 8th power, 10 to the 9th power, somewhere in that range. And what they're talking about is how many live bacteria there are to actually be able to colonize. So as you're navigating inoculants, just know that that's what that terminology is. The reason for coating and inoculant, and we're going to kind of talk about these as one and the same, even though they're not. The reason that we use coated and inoculant, and we see that with clovers, is because the rhizobia population is very important to be able to create nodules, which you see on the picture on the right-hand side, to be able to allow that legume product to nodulate. Nodules allow for the ability for that plant to produce nitrogen, basically take nitrogen from the air and store it in the root system, which is why we typically don't have to put nitrogen on clovers or alfalfa or legumes, soybeans, whatever it may be. But so we get superior nodulation and nitrogen fixation from the inoculant and the coating process. It reduces the amount of nitrogen synthetic fertilizer we need. It boosts the protein and the biomass. It allows for that product to or that species to be able to really be a healthy surviving plant on its own. The second thing that the coating and inoculant people will tell you is that we get improved germination and establishment. The coating, depending on the type of coating used, what that will do is it'll actually draw moisture from the ground to the seed. And they refer to this as a moisture wick, which essentially is, in theory, like wrapping the seed in a wet, moist towel, right? And so that's why they're saying they can get this better germination, is because of the ability for that coating to draw moisture around the seed itself for germination. We get better seed to soil contact because of the weight. So some of these clovers, like Balanza that Molly was talking about, are very, very, very small seeded products. And coating creates a more dense product, which allows us with a couple of different things like ballistics, like if we're broadcasting clover through like a fertilizer spreader, for example, or any kind of broadcast system, that coating adds weight to that product, which gives us maybe a more consistent pattern or a more consistent spread width. And so that's another benefit here for coating an inoculant. The third thing is we get protection and stress tolerance. So there's the argument out there that the birds that come down and eat your seed in a broadcast scenario are actually not palatable. It's the coating and the coating process, especially if we add inside the coating a fungicide package, it's just less desirable than straight seed. So of course we market that as less predation by birds and rodents. It also helps buffer pH and salinity depending on the package. And like I said, when we add in like an apron product for fungi and pathogens, we can help protect that plant in the early seedling stage from damping off due to pythium or whatever disease that we're dealing with at that time. The fourth benefit of coating an inoculant is the easier handling and planting. And this is again what I'm talking about with where we get these really oblong, weird shaped seeds. You have big seeds, little seeds coming off of these plants. Coating gives us a more uniform product. And that's important for basically application. It makes these products ideal for broadcasting them, flying them on through airplanes. If you're in a no-till seeding environment where we're not disturbing the soil, again, coating and inoculants will help in those environments. It does also create that coating creates a barrier so that if we are mixing it in with fertilizer, we can do that without harming the actual bacteria in the inoculant. So it's just a protection there that exists on the outside of that seed. And then overall performance, we get faster establishment due to the fact that we can draw that moisture. We get stronger seedlings because we protected it from a fungicide perspective. And at the end of the day, we should be able to get higher yields and forage quality. It's often cost effective when you look at it per pound, because typically these companies will say due to the overall increases that the coating and inoculant bring, you can basically seed them at the same rate, even though you're getting less seeds per pound, which leads me into, let's talk about the things that aren't just roses and sunshines on coating and inoculant. So the other side of the coin, we kind of have 4 cons here that I want you to be aware of. Can you move? There you go. 4 cons of the coating inoculant world. One is when we actually look at it, pound to pound, live seeds to live seeds, because the coating takes up 30 to 34%, sometimes in some cases 50%, you're getting fewer seeds per pound, fewer live seeds per pound. And so you are paying even if it's at the same cost, you are paying a premium to get that product coated and inoculated versus you taking an inoculant and putting it on at the planter box, for example. So that higher cost, there is a good school of people out there who just don't want to overpay for clay. That's kind of the way that they place that. And I don't think they're necessarily wrong in certain circumstances, but you are paying a premium even if it is the same cost per pound because you're getting 30 to 50% less seeds based on that coating. Equipment adjustment needs. So heavier flow changes any kind of calibration. So when you're looking at charts on your planner, those are all based off of raw seed. And so when we make adjustments to that seed, you have to equate for that in your calibration process. We have a shorter shelf life. This is very important on our side. As inoculants only have a certain amount of time that those CFUs are viable. It does basically, I would say as a rule, it's within a year. We need to make sure that anything that's coated and inoculated is getting in the ground to be able to see the benefits of those products. The third con of coating inoculant, in my opinion, is that you get variable results. So in other words, it's not, inoculants are good if your soil is short the rhizobium that it needs for that product to grow. If it's already got the threshold of CFUs inside of our soil profiles, then really the inoculant's not needed. And we see this more on the soybean side than we talk about it on the clover side, but it's always true. There is a baseline CFU count that can be measured in the soil. And if we're above that baseline, then the benefits of the inoculant will be minimal, if any. Other limitations, the biggest limitation is the handling of these products, being able to make sure that we have the right amount of the rhizobium bacteria, the right CFU counts to be able to hit thresholds. And then also, if we're in poor, I don't know the term, just poor dirt, poor soil environments, less black soil, more sandy soil, more clay type soils, things that maybe struggle from just being able to support healthy biology. Those are the areas where you're going to see big benefits from products like this. If we go out to the heavy black dirt, prairies of the United States, they already probably have populations well above thresholds, and you're going to see a dwindling return on your investment from an inoculant standpoint. 3 takeaways. So this is best for dry marginal soils, new fields lacking rhizobia. So in other words, if I'm taking something out of trees, I'm taking a timber out where it's been long-term timber, that might be an area where I would look to add the bacteria to make sure I have threshold levels. It's best for broadcasting and no-tilling, especially when we talk about the coating part of this. And obviously maximizing the amount of in-fixation. So a lot of times when we look at clovers and we look at it in the cover crop conversation, we're talking about how many pounds of nitrogen can this product fixate for the following grass crop. That's where you really want to make sure that you have a good inoculant and a good coated product to be able to maximize your ability to fixate nitrogen. You may not need this in established fields. So if this is long-term pasture or it's long-term clover, long-term soybeans, anything, or in a rotated 1 year out, 1 year in system, you don't really need inoculant as it's not as important as it is when you're pulling these things out of something that's been long-term grass production or tree production. So bottom line is coated seeds excel in challenging setups. The reliable stands and performances outweigh drawbacks depending on the scenario. I got a duplicate slide here, so we're just going to move on from that. And then we got another duplicate slide, so that's cool. And then 2 ways to buy. Okay, so 2 ways that we buy coating an inoculant is on the seed. So that seed actually comes in from a coater with it pre-inoculated and coated. And like I said, that ranges somewhere between 33 to 50%, depending on the specific product. Another thing that I will note here is that coating products is a good way for the seed industry to stretch inventories. So it's not always like if you have a product that's coated, it's because it needs coating. Sometimes it's just a marketing play where these companies are trying to take a small pile and stretch it into a bigger pile. And so they will start coating things. We see this even in grasses. If orchard grass, for example, is super tight, you'll start to see a lot of coated orchard grass getting put into the marketplace. The second way is the planter box dry inoculants. These are very effective products. They're products that you can match your specific strain of rhizobium to a very specific species and buy it that way. Buy it by 50-pound units, 2,000-pound units, 500-pound units, all kinds of different measurements in which you can buy that. The company that we work with is Vision Biologics. They're one of the largest inoculant providers in the United States. And so if you're ever in a situation where you have a raw seed product and your customer wants coating, we do have the ability to provide that to you. Just get a hold of Molly or Steve or Dylan, and they will be able to set you up with the product that you need.
One thing I want to say too, this is not just for clovers. We heavily talk about inoculants and coating on clovers on the inoculant side of things. And honestly, this is, Steve Dillon, this is something that we got signed up to sell this product. I've been wanting to carry inoculant in our warehouse for some time. This is something that is new to you guys. This is the first time you're hearing it. And I will get you pricing on these products to distribute to your dealers. But it is more than just on clovers. We move quite a bit of 4010 forage peas out of this facility here. There will be a dry peat inoculant that will be in small packages that when you start selling those 4010s out of here, that you can send some inoculants with the 4010s as well. So like I said, this is the first time you guys are hearing about it, but this is something I've been working on all week to try to get that pricing for you as we start to move these products out this spring. So,
Okay, and the final thing that I have is just thank you to all the dealers for your support through this webinar series. We look forward to working with you this year, being a trusted partner in your business, and we just want to take a moment to say thank you for all of you who have jumped on, all of you who have watched this on YouTube, anybody who's tuned into this. Molly has put in a tremendous amount of work putting this whole webinar series together, so I just want to put out a special thank you to her for all of her work and making sure that this was a overall success. And we look forward to being a trusted partner of yours this coming year. So thank you to everybody who has made this webinar series be so successful this winter.
yeah, I agree. As we lead into the spring, if there is anything you guys need, make sure to contact myself, Steve, Trent, Cheyenne, Dylan. We are here as a resource. A few things that are coming down the pipeline. Like I said, as the brand lead, I really want to focus on, helping you guys build your businesses as well. So, the inoculant piece of that is a big thing for me that I wanted to be accessible for you guys. I am also working on Alpha Core field signs. So if you guys have any alfalfa fields, 4015, 914, any of our Alpha Core alfalfa, please let me or Steve know. Trent is working on designing field signs. So that is something we will have here, hopefully. I would say realistically by May. But I would love to come out, connect with you guys, walk through those alfalfa fields and get you some field signs. So, like I said, appreciate everything that you guys have done, and we look forward to this spring. So pay attention to our YouTube and our Spotify pages. We will be adding different topics as we go. You know, as we're in the spring and the summer, we aren't hosting these webinars, but I will be adding different videos, different topics, you know, as they come out through the spring. So thank you guys, and that is all we got for you.
Thank you, Molly.